Alright, what's up guys? Wooly here. We're going to do an updated guide on fire tanking, and then I'll do an updated guide on battle tanking. I believe the fire tank, maybe it was a battle tank. Either way, those were some of the first videos that I put up, but obviously quite a bit has changed since then. So we kind of want to update the guide a little bit, show you what I'm running now. Um, yeah, so let's jump into it. So you can see the loadout there. As always, we're going to jump straight into the loadout. And then we'll kind of talk about some of the details. So, in golf, it's your main pool. It's what you grab most of the ads with. Stoke Flames. This heals you, as you can see here. Conjure Restorative Flames, healing yourself over time. The intense heat sears nearby enemies, damaging them over time. So it does add that burning effect, adds a little dot, but mostly we're using it to heal ourselves. Backdrafts, another pool. Um, I always will use Engulf to grab the ads, and then Backdraft to pull them in. A lot of the times I jump into the air and I'll use Engulf and pull them up, yanks them up into the air, kind of juggle them a little bit, and then when they're coming down, I use Backdraft to pull them in. Immolation, it's another shield here, and then Hard Light Shield. Hard Light Shield may be overkill sometimes for normal content. It's kind of necessary for elite content, but for normal content, it may be overkill. So you could run Burning Determination in its place if you prefer. I just like having Hard Light Shield on there. I don't like switching it out. I don't see a reason to. We are a tank. We're going for survivability. So it never hurts just to be safe. But if you're not going to run it, I would run Burnout, or I would run Burning Determination. It's going to be your preference, really. Burnout is your group breakout. Group breakout. Can't talk today. So it provides immunity to control effects to you and up to 7 group members. But if you're mainly just going to be trying to break yourself out, Metabolic Boost accelerates your metabolism to break free of control effects and restore health over time. So that does help you break out of those control effects as well, and you will get Metabolic Boost. Oh, let me go down here. From Super Speed, see it here. Right, so you'll just spec into that first one, spec in a dash attack, phase dodge, Metabolic Boost. And it is a very, very low cost supercharge, and that's why I run it, because we are running Eye of Gemini. So you can see it's a 4% buff to everything when it's at 180. But why we use it in tank or healer role, restores 3% of health and 2% supercharge every second. When Caster's Watch expires, all allies within it will be healed for the amount of health restored by Caster's Watch. Standing in any Caster's Watch grants you, and obviously we got 0% dominance, health, and restoration until we get to 200. We get to 200, we get that 5% buff. So, Eye of Gemini, wonderful artifact. I was running Everyman prototype, but I've since switched out for Eye of Gemini. And then, of course, Mystic Symbols of the 7. When hit by an enemy, increases defense by 5% for each enemy within 5 yards, maximum 20%. Increased healing received by 10%. Regenerate a small amount of health based on restoration each time you are struck by an enemy. So great for ads around you. This is just kind of one of those must-have artifacts that you should be running as a tank or a fire tank especially. And then Manacles of Force, just a mainstay of any tank role. Capable of blunting the strongest attacks, these manacles put you into an unshakable state for 5 seconds. When an attack damages you for at least 30% of your health, absorbs 50% of incoming damage, and reapplies it over the next 5 seconds. Cooldown is 45 seconds. When unshakable triggers, the following ability cooldowns are reset. And then it lists the different power set shields there. You see Gemstone Shield, Immolation, Redirected Rage, and Winter Ward. And that's why we run Immolation. But but those two are very necessary artifacts. The third one is your preference. If you prefer running Everyman Prototype, by all means, put it on. But I have since come to really appreciate the Eye of Gemini on my tank, and it's just great for everybody in the group. So that's what I prefer to run. As far as the skill points, how we're spec quickly, I'm going to go straight down the middle here. Focus Hybrid, get that 5% dominance, 5% restoration. And then get your crits first before anything else. I always say this, but it's so important. You don't want to split it up. You're hindering yourself. If you put 5 or 10 in here, and then 5 or 10 in here, and then throw the rest into your main stat, you're hindering yourself. You need those criticals, so please go for the crits first, and then go into health. As a fire tank, health is your main stat, and then anything left over I would put into restoration. Ideally, I would probably put 100 into restoration, but I think 50 is fine for normal content. Even this is probably overkill, and then we're going to throw the rest into dominance. And then really quickly, I'll jump into the attack mods, but before that, I'm going to show you the augments. So we are running full dom on our augments, and that's what you want. Alright, so we want full dom. And then of course, personal dampening field on the belt, just in case. Never hurts to have it. If you feel like you don't need it, don't run it. You could put anything else there, like a soda or something. And then chromatic emitter. And this is what you use to control the ads. Then we got a tank trinket here, just to get that buff in those really tough situations. From time to time, you will find yourself in a tough spot, and it just helps to have that trinket. And by a tough spot, I mean the group may not necessarily be up to par. Burn may be slowing the ads. Whatever the situation is, you may just be getting swarmed by ads, and you're just cornered. So chromatic emitter and the trinket really come in handy in those situations. And then your supply drop, of course. As far as this, I was running the Elite Duo for a while to kind of finish off my renown, so I just kind of put that in because I found myself tanking and soloing either half of it, all of it, or the last boss, because you know those orbitals just take you out. So anyways, before we get too carried away on that, there's nothing really goes into the leg mod except Flashpoint was the one thing that I found benefit using. There are some other things, I think there's like 2 other options, but they're not worth using. Flashpoint, because I use it on my battle tank, which you'll see in the guide that I'm updating and putting up shortly, it does give you that effect. So that healing effect once every 12 seconds when you use it. It's great for juggling ads. And then Hardy, increase your health by 5% in the chest. You could go with healing receive, but I prefer Hardy because we want our health to be as high as possible. Burning Determination, for when you do run it, you can put it in the back tactical mod. Escalating Might. Now, if you don't have the OP neck and you're not switching between roles, then you would run Fortified Assault, because as a fire tank you don't need to block really. The exception to that would be when you're trying to block counter an enemy, when you're trying to block counter the boss. That would be the only time you really need to block in like 99% of the situations. There are going to be those one-off moments where you may just not be ready for that one shot, and you do need to block, or you may just do it out of habit. But for the most part, you don't really need to block as a tank. You don't need to, I mean, a fire tank. You don't need to use your weapon as a fire tank. Very seldom will you ever need to use your weapon. So Fortified Assault would be the alternative. I just don't feel like switching that tactical mod back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So we just stay with Escalating Might because it's just easier for me, and I'm kind of lazy, if I'm being honest. Now, head is going to be Supercharged Metabolic Boost, grants 2.5% Supercharge back to you when you use Super Speed, Metabolic Boost, and then of course Absorption Adapter. Okay, and then as far as the allies, we always stick with Zoom because he does have that pull for enemies, so it's great for a tank. And then we always use Diana. Successfully pulling an enemy decreases their attack damage by a percentage. And then Calculator Bot. His passive, when damage is taken, a percentage of max health is healed every several seconds. So really, really good to have for a fire tank. But it's your preference, whatever you like to run. These are what I run as a fire tank. I don't even switch them out on my DPS. But it's just my preference, and I don't like to be, constantly switching. I wish these saved to your armories, so you could change your allies out like that, and they just change when you change. But anyways, I'm going to show you how I tank with here. So I always start with Engulf, right? And then when they come up in the air, Backdraft, and then I go into Stoneflame. So we'll go through that again. Engulf, Backdraft. We're going to hit Immolation this time because Stoneflame will go down. But how I normally do it, you see that chronomatic event there, right? And then let's say, these later in-game mechanics, the bosses tend to run away from you. This isn't like when it first came out and you would just stationary turtle tank. You would pull the boss and turn away from everybody, and they would just stare at you. And you would hold aggro and everybody would burn it. Now the bosses jump around the map. So don't feel compelled, if you're sitting here tanking, don't feel compelled. If the boss runs over here, don't go chase him. You're the tank. Stay there. What you want to do is spam Engulf. So if the boss runs over there and he's going towards the group, just stand here and keep hitting Engulf. Even if he makes it all the way over there, he will stop after one hit or no hits, and he will look at you. So he may stay here, but he'll be looking at you as long as you were doing this. Just keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. Now if you do this about 15 times, your power will start to drain a little bit, so just be mindful. But for the most part, you should be fine. You shouldn't run out of power very often as a fire tank. But that's basically it. Just a lot of jumping with the fire tank. Why? Just you can see the supercharged bars continuously going up with the caster's watch going. Just pay attention to that. I'm going to pop it again in a second. And you can see how low cost it is to run Metabolic Boost. That was a recommendation from my friend that was running Pheromone? Yeah, it was running Pheromone. But he suggested trying Metabolic Boost, so I tried it, and it's just easier to get. It's a lower cost. Pheromone isn't really very costly. I feel like it is we're gonna get. So you can almost always have it. And it's just gonna be a benefit to everyone around you, not just you. And that's why I run Gemini. So, anyways, guys, that's what I got for you today. As far as the fire tank, because we just wanted to update the guide to what we're currently running. Actually had to redo this video because I forgot to show you the augments. and I didn't want to be lazy and skip out on that. So we went back and we just redid it to show you the augment. So that's what I got for you today, guys. Appreciate you tuning in, checking it out. There's not a whole lot to be said about tanking. You just need to be comfortable and work at it. But this is the loadout I use. These are the artifacts I use and the tactical mods I use and how I spec my skill points. And that's really what you need to know to get you started. From there, set it up how you want. If you don't want to run hard light shield, you can never go wrong with flashpoint, because that's what I run on my battle tank, and you'll see that. But as far as the tank, like the regular tank, this is what I run, and this is what I run in Elite content as well. I've changed it up. I don't run Amazonian deflection anymore. It's still good to have if you want to use it. It's just a preference. You don't really need to block. But this is what I run in any content that I'm actually going to be tanking seriously. You know, battle tank is fun and all, but it's just for fun. When I'm tanking seriously, and we mean business, this is what we run. Especially if I got a strong group and I don't need to battle tank because I know their burn is going to be right. This is what I run. So anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Wooly out.